Newest Knick Karl-Anthony Towns reportedly was blindsided by the trade to the Knicks. When he found out about the move, he was at the Timberwolves training facility working on his game with his dad. And according to these reports, he is still processing the trade. We're going to break down all of these latest reports and so much more today. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button now. And make sure you have notifications turned on so you don't miss a second of the new content. And now, let's get started. Cat was blindsided by the trade to the Knicks. Now, we've been talking about this trade over the last few days, covering the deal, who's involved in the trade, what the Knicks are getting, what the Timberwolves are getting, what the Hornets are getting. But what we haven't really focused on are the feelings of the players involved in this deal, specifically newest Knick Karl-Anthony Towns. And according to these reports, Towns was training in the Timberwolves facility when he found out about the move. And according to these reports, he was blindsided by it. Shout out to Evan Cedardy from Sports Illustrated for giving us the following information. According to him, Karl-Anthony Towns was taking in his final moments as a Minnesota Timberwolf late last night with his father at the team's facility. Minnesota's former #1 overall pick was blindsided by the move to the Knicks. You can even see in the image there, it was 3:11 in the morning when he was working on his game, and he was basically processing the fact that he was traded to New York. He was going to be leaving the only franchise he's called home and going to another team. Obviously, that's going to cause him some shock. He's going to have to process the move. But for me, what was the most interesting part of that entire report was that he was blindsided by it. That means the Wolves didn't tell him anything, didn't even speak to him about the fact that potentially he could be traded or he could be moved. That's the biggest part of this entire thing for me. I'm not sure why the Wolves did that. Why wouldn't you at least tell Towns that you were going to trade him or at least having trade talks about him? That's at least what you could do for him. Give him that common courtesy. I'm sure the Knicks did that for Randall and DiVincenzo, but it seems like the Timberwolves, they didn't have the time to do that for Karl-Anthony Towns. According to Ramona Shelburne of ESPN, she stated the following: Karl-Anthony Towns is still processing this trade, but it's worth noting Knicks coach Tom Thibodeau has publicly come out and given a lot of compliments to Karl-Anthony Towns since he's left Minnesota, something that's been noted by Towns as well too. Evan Cedardy of Sports Illustrated gives us some more information on this situation. According to him, the Timberwolves never gave Towns a heads up as far as him potentially being traded. Only 3 weeks away from the season beginning, Towns was completely thrown off guard. Towns had been working out often at the Timberwolves facility, so they had a lot of options and a lot of opportunities to tell him he was going to be traded, but they never gave him that common courtesy. Once they had that trade approved with the Knicks, they made the move and then told him after the fact. And that's not how you treat a star like Karl-Anthony Towns. Say what you want to say about Towns. He is an all-star in this league. He gave his blood, sweat, and tears to Minnesota. He played for them while he was injured, coming back from injury sometimes a little too early and still going off, still giving them very good production. And now it seems like all of that has been forgotten given the fact of how they handled this trade. He is a star. He should have been treated like a star and given the common courtesy to at least be told that, hey, you're likely going to be traded to another team. I'm not sure when, but it's going to happen. Not even a conversation like that occurred. And you got to feel for Towns because he gave everything he had to Minnesota. And when he comes to the Knicks, you know he's going to give everything he possibly can give us when he comes to this team. He did it for Minnesota, and he's going to do it for us. But hopefully, the Knicks don't treat him this way. The way Minnesota treated this man on his way out is absolutely deplorable. It's not something that anybody should be praising. You should always give notice to the stars you're going to be trading. If you don't, it's worth the criticism. Now, you might be asking yourself, Towns is processing the trade. He's shocked. He was blindsided by it. Does that mean he's unhappy? Does he not want to be a Knick? Does he not like the trade? According to Towns' former coach, he said the following on the app X: Cat may be stunned, but he'll get over it quickly. Knicks are his boyhood team. He's coming home. We'll always remember how enthusiastically he greeted the Knicks brass before his freshman season at Kentucky's practice session. He wants to be in New York and will treasure playing with the Knicks. 100% agree with his former coach here. He may be shocked right now, like anybody would be if you were traded and you didn't know you were going to be traded, and you spent your entire career with the team that traded you. Anybody's going to have to process that situation. But after he processes it and he understands he's coming to the Knicks, he's coming to a place that he's always wanted to play, a team he's always wanted to be a part of, an organization he's always looked up to. With Leon Rose, his former agent, involved, of course, Towns is going to love New York, love the Knicks, and love his time here. And if he steps up and does everything we need him to do and is even more physical on the defensive end and inside the paint, I think everybody in New York, myself, and everybody watching him play will think the Knicks got the better end of this trade. But not only that, that Towns will be even more motivated to show that the Timberwolves made a mistake and now they gave the Knicks the piece that's going to help them get all the way to the NBA Finals. If Towns is motivated with more of a chip on his shoulder, given the way the Timberwolves treated him on his way out, I am all here for it. Use that as motivation. Come to the Knicks with something even more to prove. You're already one of the best shooting big men in the league today. If you have even more motivation on your shoulder, I can't even think about what type of Towns we're going to see in New York. The Timberwolves may have just done the Knicks a favor. You have just angered a cat and potentially turned them into a tiger. And if you're dealing with that next season, good luck to you, and thank the Knicks for making this trade for Towns at this point in time. Because if you have him in a state where he needs to prove something, and he also wants to make sure he gives everything to New York so we can get one step closer to a championship, then that was the right player to trade for. You now have an all-star who may have a chip on his shoulder, who's additionally motivated and wants to win in New York. After thinking about everything in this aspect, I am extremely hyped and excited to watch what JB, Cat, OG, Mikal, Josh Hart, and this full Knicks roster can do. Because I think fully healthy, Jalen Brunson, your superstar, Karl-Anthony Towns, your motivated all-star. You have the defensive wings in OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges. Josh Hart, who can go coast to coast at the drop of a dime. With those pieces together, the Knicks might be able to pull off one of the best seasons in franchise history. I can't wait to see it. Leon Rose has created this for us. The Knicks front office gave this to us. Now it's up to us to support this team, support this organization, and watch what they can do next season. I am all on board for the Knicks going all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals and maybe even beyond that next season. When you have motivated stars, a motivated team, and a motivated roster, anything can happen, even winning a championship. But what about you guys? What do you think about these recent reports that indicate that Minnesota didn't tell Towns that he was going to be traded and he was blindsided by the move? Let me know how you feel about that in the comment section below, guys, because honestly, I would love to hear from you. But that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment below. And of course, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knick fans. Peace.